Hello everybody and welcome back to Multiversal Musings, your friendly neighborhood DC nut. Now Christmas is basically knocking at that door. It's December tomorrow, and while I'm cooking my big Star Trek review in the background, and trust me, it's taken a lot longer because I wanted to be absolutely perfect for you guys, I still didn't want to leave you starving in the meantime for content. So I decided to break away from my usual plan for videos, which is DC Star Trek, and I wanted to give you another DC themed video. And I was thinking, what's the perfect emotional early December story to revisit? Something a bit gentle, something thoughtful, something that genuinely believes that humanity can choose compassion as an option. And to me, there's only one answer. One of my all-time favorites, Superman, Peace on Earth. Now, this book is like the comic form of Christmas for me. It is a fantastic spin on the Christmas story, as in lots of media is really positive and has a happy ending. And while this is a positive one for the most part, I think it does a really good job at maybe highlighting some of Superman's innate goodness and how at times that could almost be a detriment, and how despite how we see him as a good man, not everyone else does. Because as you will soon come to find, not everyone is so happy about this alien, and an American alien at that, swooping into a foreign country even though he has good intentions and sort of saving the day. But for the most part, this comic is warm and reflective, hopeful, and even a little sad. And that's all the Christmas feelings there for me. Hope for a new year coming soon, and the joy of giving, and also a little sad for those who are no longer here with us to celebrate. And oh my days, the Alex Ross art, I mean, come on, these are stunning. Alex Ross is insanely talented, one of my top favorite comic artists. I love the way he paints these characters. So I'm not going to break down every panel. I mean, you should absolutely read it and experience it for yourself. But the premise is this. Superman decides to take on his biggest challenge yet, to fix world hunger. Actually fix it by not just feeding the starving people of the world, but by giving them grain and seeds that they can plant and reuse. He uses this power to fly around the world and do something decisively compassionate during the holiday season, when people like to pretend that we're all better than we actually are. And the interesting thing is that the world responds to this a little weirdly. Now obviously, some embrace him, some get a little greedy even, some reject him, some governments feel threatened, and some people completely misunderstand the gesture. And slowly, painfully, Superman realizes having the power to help doesn't mean you're necessarily allowed to, or even that people will let you. Which, yeah, that is unfortunately very apparent in today's world. Now, this is one of those iconic DC dilemmas that I talk about constantly on this channel, and one that you'll see quite a lot in my upcoming big Star Trek video. What do you do when you have the power to help people, but helping them changes them more than the problem at hand? It's the same kind of decision that Superman faces in stories like Kingdom Come, right? Which is also painted by the great Alex Ross. Does stepping in break humanity's growth? It is the same in Star Trek as well. That's the reason that the Prime Directive is in place, and Archer finds it so difficult to navigate space before this exists. Superman exists in a moral space where the question is never, can he, but should he? And Peace on Earth might be the absolute clearest, purest version of that idea that DC has ever published, because he's not fighting a monster or a warlord or some unstoppable cosmic entity. He's fighting something much harder: human nature, politics, fear, ego, the limits of good intentions. Because here he's fighting the uncomfortable truth that power can help, but it also can remove agency. And that's where this starts crossing over into my other growing obsession, because this story shares a lot of parallels to Star Trek. The entire message of the book is basically, intervention is complicated. I mean, just look at The Sopranos, for example. Nah, I'm just kidding. But no, it's a great allegory for the Prime Directive. This whole comic is basically a giant Alex Ross painted Prime Directive episode. Even Archer struggles with it in Enterprise, before the rule even exists in Star Trek. That tension of wanting to help, but realizing that helping can distort an entire civilization's natural progression. Now Superman tries to do something undeniably good. He is feeding starving people, and the reaction is this messy soup of joy and panic, nationalism, corruption, insecurity. And that is exactly the kind of thing you see in Star Trek when the crew debates whether or not to intervene in a developing world. So in this story, Superman basically becomes a one-man Starfleet dilemma. He's basically the Enterprise with cape physics instead of warp engines. And of course, because art just has to imitate life, I happened to see some of Superman's haters in this comic in real life, because when I was looking up panels to use in this video, I stumbled across a Reddit thread saying that Superman Peace on Earth really made Superman look like a idiot with a arbitrary moral code. And then they posted a meme that said, "My face when Superman allows me to starve to death, because if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime." And honestly, that's such an interesting criticism for me, because the story itself literally brings up teach a man to fish idea. Like, Superman actually addresses that in the story. But another user, Latalol, clapped back with something perfect. What was he supposed to do? Take all the fish in the ocean? Do it every day before it rots? Relocate people illegally across borders? Freeze breath climate change across the equator? I love that. It's like, where do you draw the line? And that's the entire point, because Superman can basically do anything, but nothing he does is that simple. Every solution he comes up with breaks something else. And then another user called Batman Jesus, great name by the way, added this: skills and knowledge create independence. No one becomes free by being permanently dependent. And honestly, that is the entire thesis of this comic and what I take away from it. Superman isn't handing out burgers and fries, he's bringing grain, seeds, a starting point. He's giving the people the ability to grow their own future, not just give them a one-day miracle. And he's learning as he goes, and that's the beautiful part. The story treats Superman not as a god, but as a student of humanity, just like Starfleet. Just like every captain facing a civilization they desperately want to help, but they aren't so sure that they should. It's DC morality and Star Trek ethics holding hands, painted by Alex Ross and wrapped in a wonderful Christmas theme. It is hopeful, it is complicated, and it is deeply human. And there's a line near the end, you know the one, where Clark says, "I tell them not every seed will make it, but all of them deserve the chance to grow." And that's it. That's the whole story. That is the thesis of Superman as a character. He is not there to fix the world. He's there to show us that we could. We just sometimes need a little push. And maybe that's the exact kind of story we need before December kicks in tomorrow. Not a miracle, not a perfect world, just a reminder that someone believes we are capable of being better. So yeah, Superman Peace on Earth isn't just a holiday read, it is a yearly reset button for me. A moment to step back and ask myself, what can I actually do? Not with power, obviously, but with intention, because Superman's gift in this book isn't just food, it's his perspective. And as we move into the Christmas season, into giving and reflecting and trying to be less feral as a species, I think it's the perfect story to start this channel's holiday run. Next up, we're moving from DC to Trek with a Star Trek The Next Generation holiday comic. Yes, it exists. And then into the big, chaotic, philosophical meltdown that is my big Star Trek review. Not the Enterprise one though, because that's still blocked, but for now, read Peace on Earth. Feel some things, drink something warm, get a hot water bottle and snuggle up in front of the fire, and do a good deed for someone out there who needs it today. Superman believes in us, so maybe we should try believing in ourselves too. I'll see you all in the next one. Live long and prosper.